Hi all and welcome back to One Agile Production. My name is Ash Khan and in this video we shall discuss how we can launch our first Agile release train. In my previous video I discussed what is an Agile release train. So if you're not sure what an Agile release train is, then I would highly recommend you watch that video first as it would give you a better overview. Before we dive into what the steps are for launching our first Agile release train, let us look at what is an Agile release train. You can look at the Agile release train as a virtual organization which is organized around value streams to ensure the value is being delivered by building solutions that deliver benefits to the end users. The purpose of the Agile release train is to align teams to a common business and technology mission, allowing organizations to respond and deliver value to its customers quicker and more efficiently. Let us now look at how we can launch our first Agile release train. There are typically 10 steps which we would follow. The first step is to train the SPCs. SPCs, also known as the Safe Program Consultants, are change agents. They lead the transformation by teaching the company's leaders and stakeholders on how to drive the Agile release train, also known as an art. They also act as coaches and trainers that lead the Agile release train. In essence, the SPCs connect the Scale Agile framework to the organization's enterprise. The second step would be to train the Lean Agile leaders. Lean Agile leaders are expected to understand and implement the principles of the Safe Enterprise framework. They are also responsible to lead and facilitate the safe adoption within the organization and improve the business outcomes and ensure smooth transition. The third step is to identify the value streams and the Agile release train. Remember, an Agile release train is a virtual organization organized around value streams to help facilitate the flow of value across the organization. So the purpose of the value streams workshop is to understand and identify the value streams within the organization. Typically, there can be multiple value streams, and as SPCs, we need to guide and coach the business and the senior stakeholders on selecting the most valuable work stream. How can we identify which value stream should we target? We can do this by using the weighted shortest job first, also known as a WSJF. The weighted shortest job first is a method which allows teams to prioritize its list of initiatives. We can then calculate each initiative score as the cost of delay divided by the job size or duration. Once we have identified the appropriate value stream, we can then identify the Agile release train. The fourth step is to set up the Agile release train and the teams who are going to be responsible for delivering the value. Please remember that the Agile teams power the train. The Agile release train include teams that define, build and test features and components. The teams also deploy, release and operate the solution, and each Agile team has 5 to 11 members and cover all the roles necessary to build, test and release value every iteration. The fifth step would be to define the roles. We need to define the critical roles which would help drive the art, which is the Agile release train, to its final destination. The critical roles are release train engineer, system architect, product management, scrum masters, product owners and the customers. The sixth step would be to prepare and refine the product backlog. The product managers, along with other senior managers and stakeholders, build a list of features which provide the vision. These features are then further broken down into user stories so the team can then estimate and plan into the iterations. The seventh step would be to train the teams. Now that we have formed our Agile release train and identified the team members, we would now need to train the teams on SAFE for common understanding. The types of training required could be SAFE for teams, SAFE for product owners and product managers, SAFE for scrum masters. Step 8 is the PI planning and launching the art. Before we launch the art, we need a common alignment between the teams. This is where we would now conduct the PI planning. This is where all the team members on the art would meet face to face for 2-day planning sessions. The team would complete plans, assign work and plan and commit to the PI objectives, and the teams would identify any dependencies and risks and ensure they have been highlighted on the program board. Step 9 is executing the PI planning. Here we identified the R events such as PI planning, the system demo, inspect and adapt workshop, and the architectural runway. We also need to set a common cadence so that the teams are synchronized. This means all teams should start and stop the iterations at the same time. The last step is to execute the innovation and planning, which is also known as an IP iteration. The IP iteration is the last iteration within the PI. The PI iteration serves multiple purposes, such as it acts as a buffer for meeting PI objectives. In some instances, a team may not have met their PI objectives. The IP iteration gives them an opportunity to complete any outstanding work. It also provides teams with a dedicated time for innovation. It allows the teams to refine the backlog for the upcoming PI planning and also conducting the inspect and adapt workshop. Points to remember are that depending on your organizational needs, the above steps can be adjusted. SAFe is not a prescriptive framework but is goal-driven, which means SAFe allows organizations to bring together the right people to solve a complex problem and gives them the focus and support they require to deliver the highest business value in the shortest amount of time. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please do not forget to share and subscribe, and until next time, stay safe.